Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the best 15 brawlers since the update a couple of days ago. But we've only really had one full day of testing out all the balance ranges, but I've literally been playing Brawl Stars non-stop. Already got 2 prestige, 2 brawlers, and yeah, there's a lot of toxic brawlers in this meta, so let's just go ahead and jump into the video. But make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel, because I'll be giving you guys all the best meta information, and I'm playing Brawl Stars a lot now, especially since the prestige rework. So let's jump into number 15 then. We're going to be starting off with Shelly. So Shelly, she didn't receive any buffs or nerfs, but Shelly has indirectly got better in the meta, because you'll be hearing this a lot because of the likes of BB at the top of the meta. You've still got Frank in the meta. You've still got a lot of aggro brawlers like Mortis. So Shelly is a really good counter pick option. There isn't a lot of really good anti-tanks in the meta, and Shelly is by far the best anti-tank. So she's still pretty good in competitive play. So quickly, before we jump into the rest of the rankings, I've got a few honorable mentions that are not on this list, but could easily be as well. We've got Mortis, because even when Mortis's gadget nerfs, I still think he's a really strong brawler. You've got Charlie as well, a really reliable brawler in this meta. We've got Nita. I think her buffies are good, but I don't think they're anything game-changing. I mean, she could easily sneak into the top 15, but I've not really been noticing her power. And then Rico's still really strong with the buff a couple of months ago. So, at number 14, I went with Otis. Otis is still at the top of the meta, and that's thanks to the damage buff he receives a long time ago now, but literally because of his raw damage output, and he's one of the few brawlers that can really stop a lot of his tanks and assassins inside of the meta. He's still one of the best brawlers and one of the go-to brawlers, because again, he's very flexible, playing multiple game modes, got really good range, and his hypercharge really stops those aggressive brawlers. So you need a brawler like Otis in the meta. Next up at number 13, I went with Spike. So yeah, he's dropped down the tiers quite a bit, mainly because of the popping pincushion nerf. He's still a fantastic brawler in the meta, and that's thanks to just one of the only few brawlers with a buffy, right? You get sick of buffies. A lot of these brawlers in the top 15 are buffy brawlers, surprise, surprise. But yeah, Spike's dropped down a bit, but he's still such a great anti-tank. He can get countered a bit easier now. So for example, like the assassins can get the better of Spike now, because popping pincushion has been heavily nerfed. You can't just insta-kill everybody in your range, but Spike is still a good shutdown brawler, especially to some of the top meta brawlers, especially because his super is so good at keeping people in a fixed spot. Life plant is still annoying. His hypercharge buffy is still annoying, so he's still a top meta brawler. So for number 12, we have Chester. So Chester, it's been a little while since he's been at the top of the meta, but a couple of buffs have really catapulted him up the meta, as well as the meta around him is really favoring him. So the first buff is with his main attack projectile, but actually he's got 3 buffs, because this main attack projectile damage buff actually made it so his super charge rate has gone from 7 hits to 6 hits. So he gets super more frequently. That means he's going to be cycling through supers and getting hypercharges more frequently. But yeah, Chester was already trending upwards with the previous meta, because it was very aggressive, and Chester is normally that, well, there's a few better options in the previous meta as the go-to tank counter, but now it is mainly Chester, because he has some great range, he has a lot of health, he's got faster movement speed. He can be a difference maker in the game as well. If those tanks are going to feed the hypercharge, he can get team wiped still with the hypercharge. It's still pretty broken. So yeah, Chester is absolutely back in the meta. Next up at number 11, I went with Bo. So this one I'm a little bit undecided about, because there's some really strong points with Bo, but I like Bo personally, but I want to see what the pros think about Bo. I've been seeing him practice Bo a little bit. Yes, he's going to be a good gem carrier, and he's going to be pretty toxic in a few different game modes, but yeah, I'd still want a couple of days more to test him out properly. But there are a few really strong things with Bo. The first one being both gadget buffies. Both gadget buffs are really strong. Tripwire, the additional super radius with your mines is pretty toxic, and you've got the arrows as well that stun and push back opponents. That's pretty good, right? But the best thing is definitely the super totem. You can just throw that super totem wherever you want, but normally in the back it's got an insane radius, and the health of the actual totem has been buffed. So theoretically you could have a super totem up on the map all the time. If you put it in a safe spot, you can have it the whole duration, because by the time your totem has been depleted in health, you can get another one, because it's literally a 20-second cooldown. So that makes Bo, and that made Bo really toxic in the past, right? And then you've got his hyper buffy, which is insane. An additional arrow with his main attack. It deals so much damage. Yeah, Bo, for me, I feel like he's pretty strong. It might be a bit difficult to make him work completely with the BB meta, but yeah, I'm liking the book. So now moving into your top 10 brawlers. At number 10, I went with Frank. So I'm a bit reluctant to put Frank actually even in the top 15, mainly because the meta around him doesn't feel that great, but it's still Frank at the end of the day. I still think the nerfs, yeah, there were quite a few nerfs that didn't like completely kill him, and still if you don't have a direct answer to Frank, he will just wreak havoc because he just has so much health. So you've received quite a few nerfs, I think 4 or 5 nerfs, which definitely toned him down a bit. And then you've got meta brawlers around him, you know, like BB having a double knockback can be really, really detrimental to him. You've got Brawl as well, that's a great counter, and you've got a few other tank counters out there, but I'm still thinking like the power of Frank, if you don't have some of these direct counters to him, he's still really strong. His hypercharge buffy is still really strong. Irresistible attraction gadget buffy is still pretty strong. So yeah, I still think he's a meta brawler. I think he could be trending downwards though, so yeah, don't be surprised if you see him outside of the top 15 soon. So at number 9, I went with Ems. So Ems received a slight nerf to her supercharge rate from 8 hits to 10 hits, which has definitely made a bit of an effect on her, but I still think Ems is really powerful because she's got 2 really strong gadget buffies. You got acid spray, which can actually be really toxic because of its short cooldown, and then you've got the knockback, which can be really powerful. You've got the hype star power buffy, which isn't as powerful as before, but it's still really effective. The hypercharge is really effective. She's still one of the only few brawlers with a buffy, right? And she's still like, there's still a lot of tanks and aggro brawlers in the meta, so that's just going to favor Ems even more. So it might be a bit harsh putting Ems at number 9, but that's mainly because there's a lot of strong brawlers in this meta, as you'll see. Next up at number 8, I went with Leon. So Leon received quite a few buffies with this update, and at first I thought, okay, Leon's not going to be improved that much, but then there was a bug with the lollipop gadget buffy and with the smoke trail star power. I don't know whether you need a buffy or not, but with these two things combined, you get some insane speed boost whilst inside of a lollipop drop, and that is, it's just crazy how fast you are inside of there. Already with the lollipop drop gadget buffy, you're supposed to get quite a big speed boost, which would have, I thought, at least put Leon in and around like the A tier of the meta, just because he's one of the few brawlers with buffies, right? But this just makes him so strong. And then if you pair smoke trails with the hypercharge buffy, so smoke trails makes it so when you pop out of invisibility, you get like, I don't know how much of a damage boost, you get a damage boost, right? But with hypercharge, right, you're not gonna be uninvisible when you shoot with your hypercharge, so you're consistently just getting this damage buff with your main attacks, which makes it very powerful. The one thing I will say though, maybe once they fix this bug, I don't think Leon will be that, I mean, he'll be good, but he won't be like top 10 once they fix it, because of the removal of the mythic gear. I think that has actually impacted Leon a lot more than people think, but he's still in the meta, definitely, with these buffies. Next up as the 7th best brawler in the meta right now, I've gone with Mina. So Mina, yes, she's still at the top of the meta. She receives a slight nerf to her windmill gadget. It's gone from 2 seconds to 1.5 seconds, which you can definitely feel the difference, but I still think it's Mina, and I still think she's very strong. I will say that it's a little bit difficult to make Mina work right now with the BB meta going on, because you do need some really big anti-tanks to really counter the BB. But, you know, in competitive play, in ranked, you're able to ban out the BB, and then Mina's still as powerful as before. You can see what Angel Boy does on Mina, for example. A good Mina can really just tear the opposition apart, because you can create so much pressure. There's so many good combinations that you can create with the super and the last attack. She still does quite a lot of damage, so much pressure. She's still easily going to be in the top 10 in my opinion. Next up as the 6th best brawler in the meta right now, we have Glober. So I told you guys when he was released that he's very strong. Hardly anyone really believed me, or I didn't see many people like backing up my point whatsoever. Most people just thought he was pretty mid, but I knew he was not broken, but very strong. I think people will just like Glober even more, because I sense maybe some emergency nerfs to some of the top meta brawlers, which is going to make Glober even better. So any open map, Glober is absolutely disgusting. Literally, I've seen some scrim gameplay of Glober on Bridge Too Far. You know, again, after playing him in rank there, he's completely broken. If you just latch onto someone, there's hardly anything that you can do. You know, for example, I played duels for the first time in a while yesterday on stream, and I faced off against a Glober, and it's like once he gets close to you, you're just dead. There's nothing you can do about it. The only thing that you can really do well, you can't do anything on an open map. If the map's open, it's over, literally, because of the burst damage that you can provide with the Glober. So yeah, one of the best support brawlers in the game right now. Just make sure that the map is open, and you'll see the power of Glober. So now we're going to be moving into the top 5 brawlers in the game right now. So at number 5, I went with Pierce. So Pierce received 2 nerfs, and they were really pitiful, because they nerfed his bottomless Mags gadget, I think it's called, the one that you get like 2 extra pieces of ammo, which was good. It needed a nerf, right? But then the nerfed the supercharge rate by like 10%, which is a step in the right direction, but we just know it's nowhere near enough because he's going to get a hypercharge soon. I don't know how soon, but within the next month, I believe, which will make him even better inside of the meta. I mean, some brawlers have changed, right? You know, we've got a few counters to him in the meta, like Sirius, I think, could be a good counter to Pierce because of the amount of ammo that it's going to take, well, yeah, to take down those shadows. But outside of that, again, you're like in competitive play and ranked, you know, Sirius is probably going to be banned, so Pierce is still going to be as good as before. And you know, if the map's opened up by brawlers like Brawl, Frank, etc., it's just going to make Pierce even better. So easily still a top 5 brawler in my opinion. Now we're going to be moving into the top 4 brawlers in the game, starting off with Brawl. So Brawl, at first I thought, okay, these buffies are pretty strong, right? But I don't know whether he's going to be that good. And then last night I played some Brawl. I think the meta is helping him a little bit, but because of how strong BB is right now, Brawl just absolutely collapsed. It's just, he's so strong. The buffies are actually incredible, and there's been a lot of Bull in scrims as well recently. He's really powerful, so let me talk about why. Both gadget buffies are actually pretty strong. You've got the stun, which will always be strong, and then the heal gadget buffy actually is pretty decent. I've been liking both of them. I think stun is still a bit better. And then both star power buffies are actually really powerful. I kind of underestimated them a little bit, but now I see the true power of them, especially in like a really aggressive game mode. So you've got the tough guy one that gives you a 0.5 second immunity. It's not the greatest immunity, but it really does help you out in certain situations. I've seen some really cool clips with it. And then Berserker, I don't know whether this will be the competitive option, but in ladder it's absolutely hilariously broken, especially in Brawl, because you could just chain supers like crazy and just get easy team wipes. So yeah, Bull's really good for that reason. And then the hypercharge buffy is so strong. I said this up on my sneak peek video that this would be a really good hypercharge buffy, and people are sleeping on it. The amount of damage that you can deal just with your main attack is crazy. So basically you can deal the maximum, so Bull deals more damage than normally up close, right? You can basically deal that up close damage at any range with the hypercharge buffy, minus a little bit of damage, but so you can just tap people like crazy. You can just get so much pressure, and then Bull does counter a few of the meta brawlers. Like I said, you've got BB, you've got like, he's good against Mina, he's good against Frank in particular, very, very strong against Frank. So yeah, Bull is absolutely back in the meta, and these buffies are very strong. So now moving into the third best brawler in the game right now, I went with Crow. So the main reason, well, not even the main reason, he's actually really, really powerful right now because of a few bugs. The first one being his main attack projectile just shoots way faster, and then also I believe his jumps land a lot quicker as well, and the daggers are just flying much quicker in everything with his kit, so just making him much stronger brawler. But also people, I mentioned this a few days ago, they're playing the shield gadget completely wrong. So you can use the shield gadget in a few ways, right? You don't want to use your shield gadget before you jump in. So the first thing I'll say is you jump in and then press your shield gadget. That would be a good way to give you some extra health if you're using your super aggressively. Or you can use the shield gadget buffy to continue the poison of the enemies for a long time. If you have this and they're carrying Crow star power buffy, which gives you an extra second of poison, I think you can poison people for 10 seconds, which is crazy. So you basically got to time it so you get the 4th or 5th poison tick, and then you click the gadget and then it reapplies another load of poison. So yeah, people are playing it wrong. It's a very, very strong mechanic, guys. I can't stress this enough, how toxic of a 10-second poison is in competitive play. It's crazy. That means that you're going to get map control for those 10 seconds. Imagine someone's weak. They're going to have to wait for, like, they're going to have to fall back for 10 whole seconds. That's just busted. I can definitely see this getting some type of nerf because that just shouldn't be happening, in my opinion. It's probably intended just to deal some extra damage quickly because Crow doesn't have the burst damage, so they wanted the insta poison probably to work that way, but it's working a completely different way. And then you've got the hypercharge buffy on top of this. Didn't even talk about that, which is just completely busted. All of these things as well are just making Crow charge super way quicker. He's just insane right now. So now moving into the second best brawler in the game right now. No surprises here, surely. After watching my live stream yesterday, Sirius. Sirius is seriously OP. Now, he's very, very good. I will say that there is a bit of a learning curve with him with his main attack. Sometimes against good players, it can take a little bit longer to build up those shadows, but once you start farming those shadows, and the enemies start eating up the shadows. Like, even if the shadows don't do a lot, like a lot of the time they can be really, really strong, you know, with like a BB shadow or like a Mortis shadow, or with some brawlers with multiple projectiles. I'm yet to still discover the absolute best brawlers to take the shadows from, because there's 100 brawlers in the game, right? It's going to take a little while, but most of the brawlers you're taking the shadows off are really, really powerful. And it's the fact that you charge the shadows so quickly, so you're just spamming them out. Just think of Mr. P, but 10 times more annoying. It's just crazy the amount of ammo you eat up. And for the first time, like, I played a lot of series yesterday, and then I played a few games against him on ladder with like a Shelly or a few brawlers. If you're a single shot brawler or somebody that doesn't like pierce through or just deal area damage, you're just gonna get completely cornered by Sirius. He's so incredibly strong in every department. His gadget's strong, his star power's strong. He's pretty broken. And for me to put him second just says how broken number 1 is. Now we're moving into the best brawler in the game, hands down. It's not even a debate right now. It is BB. So BB, yes, she is bugged right now, but I think even without the bugs, she would easily be a top 5 brawler in the game. I'd actually probably say like the 3rd best brawler in the game without these bugs, because she's incredibly powerful. So the bug, if you guys don't know, her healing gadget heals her for 2k a second instead of 1k. That means she gets 8k healing, and then it's only a 10-second cooldown. And then as well, I didn't even realize with this healing gadget buffy, you charge your knockback. So you can knock somebody back, click gadget, and then knock them back again. That's just insanely broken. And then you get additional healing through that second knockback. The hypercharge buffy, oh, that's just, my eyes are bleeding when I'm watching this hypercharge. It is absolutely dumb broken. It's got to be one of the most powerful mechanics I've ever seen in Brawl Stars, honestly. It's like Frank hypercharge buffy, but even better. You can just swing your attacks so fast, and you're cycling through hypercharge bubbles like crazy. You get the hypercharge very quick as well with BB, so that's probably an oversight there, making the hypercharge buffy so incredibly strong. If you have really fast ping, you're just going to delete everybody on the map. So yeah, BB's incredibly strong. I don't need to talk about how strong she is. It's mainly because of the healing, right? But there are a lot of powerful things about her kit right now. So yeah, she's just insane. Just push her as quickly as possible, because I can guarantee she's going to receive some type of emergency nerf, because it is actually breaking the game, especially on ladder. And I rarely use that term a lot, because a lot of people like to overreact, but I can tell you, she's completely breaking the game right now. So yeah, push her whilst you can. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.